What is up, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, day traders, cloud swing traders? Hope you guys are doing absolutely fantastic. Hope you guys had a incredible weekend. We are back at it again. We got another month. We've got another day. We've got another year. No. I pushed the gun a little bit too much on that one, but feels like it. We are potentially looking at a interesting week in the market with a lot of news that could change a lot of things, and we'll see. Maybe it will feel like another year before the week is done. We will see, but we can't always count on the market. What we could count on is we got Al in the house. We got Andy, Attorney Dan. Good morning. We got Bill, Brian Reppel. Good morning. Eric Fayaz, Fabrice is in the house. Good morning, Franco. We got Greg K, Greg Gilbert, Jay Linder, Joe, Kevin Stone, Lauren. Oh, man, the list goes on. Good morning, Paul. We got Ron. We got Tanya. We got Win. Everybody at YouTube. We got Richard. We got, I like that name, Anna Day Mira. Did I say that right? Good morning to you. We got Scott Wentz in the house. Good morning to all the lurkers, the background of YouTube. If you're not going to say nothing, at least hit the little thumbs up, the like, subscribe, do whatever all the other YouTube people say to do. I don't know how it affects anything, but just feels good. It feels good. Daniel's in the house. Good morning. Yeah, so Wednesday's going to be the big day. Obviously, we still have earnings this week. I believe we have Apple coming in with earnings. We had, I think this morning, we should have had non-farm payrolls. Either that was today or supposed to be Friday. One of those. I know we do have unemployment numbers coming out as well. So we will see, but it's going to be an interesting week. Could get a little whipsawy. This is on Wednesday, it is the rate hike meeting. So it's going to be important to see, number one, what the Fed decides to do. And then more importantly, because I think it's kind of priced in that we're probably getting a 25-point basis hike on Wednesday. So we'll see if that happens. But I think the market's leaning into that will be the case. And then the bigger question is, does the Fed want to pause on rate hikes? I don't know. I don't know exactly how the market's pricing it in, but I don't think we get a hard answer one way or the other. I think he wants to, I would assume, probably leave the door open and say, we're still considering it. We're going to base decisions on data that comes in, yada, yada, yada. And I think that's going to be the bigger key on things. If he comes out and flat out says pause, yeah, then I think we have a good shot of an extremely bullish move. But again, I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think we probably get a little bit of kick the can down the road type scenario, but we will see what happens. Let's start right now with the SPY, and then we'll get into banking. We'll get into all that stuff. Also, if you guys got tickers, good morning from Tokyo. Oh, man, Mr. Worldwide. If anybody has any tickers, be more than happy to cover those. Just throw those into any of the chat panels that you see on your screen. Otherwise, SPY is kind of flat. But I'd also say kind of bullish still. The number I was looking for was 413. I was really looking for like 413.56 as where we should close the month if we're going to remain bullish. We not only tackled that, but we just absolutely clobbered it, closing the month somewhere at 415.93. So beginning of the day could get a little tricky. I think what ends up happening is we probably could get some kind of a retest at open. I think that would make sense, something like that into that 413 zone, and then probably pushes us back to somewhere around 418.31. But regardless, I think this is still buy the dip opportunities. I don't think we're looking to sell the rips. I don't, but if you're going to sell the rips, I think you could do it even at open. There's probably some opportunities. We just got to be quick on those. Just grab the 1.2s, try to stack some gains when the gains are available. Otherwise, the easier trade I think would be, especially if we do get down at that 413 level and then we push a little bit higher. So today might not be affected so much by the Fed. Tomorrow could be a little bit more of a challenging trading day. Just historically, the last few times we've had the Fed, we kind of stayed very tight range before the actual Fed day. So we'll see what happens. But today we could get some kind of a range. But again, we're still in a potential little double top on the SPY. So that would make sense. We come back down after 2 really, really strong days just to retest that 413. I like to say 56, but somewhere in that range, and then probably looking for 418.31. So, and whether that all happens today or not, but 418.31 is the next resistance that I have on my screen. Let's take a look real quick at the Qs. JP Morgan. Yeah, you got JP Morgan hitting yearly highs. Jeez. All right, let's go with the Qs. So a little bit of a slight gap down again, essentially flat, still above the VPOC from Friday. And again, it is a big move that we had in the last 2 days. Thursday, Friday were pretty big for the Qs themselves. It would make sense that we get a little bit of a pullback first and then probably look to go. We are extended off of those moving averages. So I don't know that bullish out of the gate is going to be the best play. Some individual names potentially, but we'll have to look at the daily chart to see that. But yeah, Qs ended very, very nicely on the month. So again, getting a little bit of a pullback and then look to buy dips. I think that's still the case. Obviously, everything could change after Wednesday if the Fed wants to throw any wrenches up into our grills. We'll see. But take a look at some of the ones that you guys wanted. JP Morgan. So JP Morgan is the winner of FRC, essentially. FRC over the weekend went into receivership. So FRC will probably, I don't say probably, it will be going to zero. I don't know that today it all goes to zero because of the halting. So every time the stock drops, I think it's like 20%, something like that, it gets halted and then it gets pushed around. It could take a couple days to get to zero, but inevitably it will be going to zero. The banks got the opportunity to bid on the assets that FRC had in terms of some of the revenue streams and things like that FRC actually had, and you could pick and choose. So essentially, JP Morgan won the bids for the assets and then all of the garbage assets that they owned. Well, we got that one. Taxpayers are going to pay for all of the garbage assets that didn't do anything, but JP Morgan will be the benefactor for the FRC collapse. Go figure. What happens to options in this situation? That's a good question, Paul. That's a good question. I don't know. I really don't. I would think all options. So if you sold calls, I believe you would get paid on those. If you sold or if you bought puts, and we end zero before those puts expire, I think they're worthless because I don't think you could sell them to anybody. That would be my assumption on that. If you sold puts, I have no idea. I have no clue. I don't know if I don't know. But if you do have puts or calls or sold puts or calls on FRC and it's going to zero, you call your broker. They might know, but I would assume even if there's a way to get paid, it's going to be kind of difficult to do so. So if you could get out of those puts while the dollar value of FRC is not at zero, that is going to be your better bet, right? Get out before the zero hits, and that would be a better, more comfortable, easier situation. All right, we got JP Morgan. JP is hitting some yearly highs, great looking gap. Unfortunately, it is a little bit of a retest, so I could see some pullback. However, that is a really, really strong gap for JP Morgan. So we'll have to watch that one carefully. I think that one would definitely be by the dip. I'm not sure if we pull. I mean, maybe we don't pull back at all. Who knows? But 143.05 is the first spot. I would definitely not throw a blind order down there. I kind of like it better somewhere like the 140.74. maybe even like 140, 145. If we can get down there, that's like more comfortable, easier buy. If I was just to randomly buy JP Morgan at open, I have no clue where to put my stops. My stops would have to be massively far away. And I just don't get a risk reward unless I expect JP Morgan just to rip all day and just have a massive, massive move. And I can't comfortably say that. So I would see if we could get a little pullback, get a better risk reward. Otherwise, JP Morgan does look strong. Since we're on banks, let's talk about BAC. BAC also has a little bit of a gap up, obviously, probably moving off of JP Morgan. And this one I do think is decent to buy, but I'd wait for that pullback 29.33. And I think you get a better location to put a stop 28.40, 28.30, somewhere in that zone. That would get us a better move. You do have a double bottom. This entire move becomes the retest. And yes, we're going to have some moving averages to fight through, but the bigger names are still strong. The bigger names are winning the battle against the regionals. Most other regionals have been gapping down today. You got Ally, so just kind of hanging out to the bottom. KRE, which is the ETF for some of the regionals, kind of hanging out flat. But so really the only ones that are really hitting this one is the bigger banks so far. So something like BAC, I think, is a little overlooked today and probably could be a play for maybe a swing, something like that, if banks could stay strong. Dale is in the house. What's up, Dale? SoFi gapping up on earnings. Yeah, a little bit of surprise earnings on SoFi. My bigger issue is about $7 is probably the resistance. I don't know where this thing got to pre-market. SoFi. Oh, I gotta let's go to hourly. Extended. We almost hit 7. Yep. So we almost hit that 7, kind of got rejected. So right now, it'd still be bullish just based on the earnings, but that is a good pop that they had. And let's flip this thing to a weekly real quick. Yeah, on a weekly, it should be a retest gap. This is probably a fadeable gap somewhere around this range. The higher this one goes, the more I'd be interested in kind of shorting it back down to earth, which could be somewhere around this 623 zone. But really good gap into a little bit of resistance, or at least hit some of that resistance pre-market and started coming down a little bit. So it would be one to watch. Could be interesting. I don't know if you guys like this thing long-term or not. That is an inverse head and shoulders. So you do have your left shoulder here. There's the head. There's the right shoulder. And this was probably your, let's see. And move this thing down a little. Nope. There we go. This should be your neckline right around here. So if that's the neckline, we still haven't really broken out of the actual neckline yet. I mean, SoFi was definitely a little bit more of a meme stock back in the day. I know people going crazy over it. So could we get to $25? It would take a very long time, I think. I don't know if I'm 100% on board with SoFi. They just have too many interesting investments. I know they got a decent amount in some of the crypto stuff, and I don't know. But it was good earnings for them, so that could give us a little bit of bullish momentum. You kind of did round this out a little bit, and that could be also maybe a little cup and handle. But I think we got to get that retest first if you do want to take some kind of investment into it. And then you probably have a stop somewhere around $5.11. So that could be decent. Let's take a look real quick. You guys said NVIDIA. Which indicator is below? This is the TTM squeeze. All right. NVIDIA, so decent gap. Let's see if it came down at all yet. But I have been watching this one. We're above on a weekly. This one was a little bit higher pre-market. It's about 5 minutes ago. This thing looked better. Still looks good though. We were up to like 279.50-ish, somewhere in that zone, which took us above that last little VPOC. This is going to definitely be some kind of a resistance up here. They do have earnings. AMD has earnings this week. Nvidia doesn't have it till the 24th, so you might get a sympathy move one way or the other, depending on how AMD reports. I don't know if it's tomorrow. I think AMD might report tomorrow. If I have to double check it, let's see. It was either I think tomorrow or Thursday. Yep, tomorrow. Tomorrow, probably after the bell. So be careful if you are taking any swings on anything in the chip sector. AMD definitely has potential to cause some sympathy to some of the other companies as well. So we'll see how it plays out. But you are at a little bit of resistance up here. And if we could get a close above 278.79, that would probably put 299 in the targets, especially after that nice little consolidation, and then we break bullish. It could get some more room. You got all those moving averages still kind of pushing up in your direction, and this is about 2-3 weeks, probably about three to 4 weeks of just consolidating sideways. So that's a lot of pressure in either direction. That could get us easily probably to that 300 range. So I have my target at 299.34, but we'll see what happens. That has been a very, very good compression zone on NVIDIA, though. All right, let's see what else we got. Tesla. Man, you guys don't have a lot of tickers today. I guess the market is a little flat. Tesla gapping down slightly. I like that close a lot on Tesla. So it's right above my price point of 163.34. So good close. This should be the retest into it. I don't know. I know no one's going to agree with this, but I'm let's call it what it is. I'm biased on it. I want this thing to go up higher. I want this thing to short this closer to about 176. And I'm looking at the chart going, I could see that happening. I could see us getting up there. That blue line is our little retest spot. So somewhere up there, maybe not even to the 176, but 175. And then we roll. Makes a lot more sense. This is still a wide open gap. I don't know that we fill this gap completely, but that's what I'd be looking for. All right. And that blue line, just so you guys know, where I'm getting that from is here. Kind of just the pennant pattern on a longer term basis, right? So there's the pennant pattern, getting some kind of a retest into it and then collapsing. I would enjoy it a lot more because I think it's a much easier trade. Otherwise, we're just chop Zillow kind of right back into that high wave from the initial gap after earnings, and we'll see what happens. But it is a bullish engulfing candle. You did have some follow through. We did break through that kind of support, so I'd have to lean a little bit to the bullish side on Tesla, especially if the entire market will continue bullish as well. And then when we get to that 175, 176 zone, that's where I'm going to start to probably look to get some kind of a put and see if we can roll this thing back down. We do have some bigger gaps down here at the 145. I think everybody's watching those ones, but I think we can come in to close those as well. So we'll see. All right. That was it on tickers. We're completely out. GeoGuessr for the rest of the day. Net. The other ones I was looking at was Coinbase. I don't know if that one moved. Coinbase looks interesting for a short. We have a little bit of support right where we're opening. Otherwise, the trend is definitely bearish. On our daily trend, we are also opening below the previous VPOC. So I kind of like that one to go down. And oddly enough, I mean, crypto moved bullish when you had some banking failures, banking scares, things like that. Then you have FRC go into receivership over the weekend, and you also have crypto gapping down. I don't know. That's irrational. Doesn't make sense. But yeah, this is still a lot of selling, but we were chopping for a little bit, and I think this gap, as long as this current price could break, and we might be able to set something on this pre-market, but I think we have good room at least back to about $46 on this one. And if not, could we get all the way back down to $35 again on Coinbase? I think it's possible. But this would be kind of the start to it. And I'm watching this level very closely. I do like this gap. So I was looking at that one pre-market. We got IMAX. That's one I have not looked at. IMAX. Off the daily for right now, we're just inside day of a big massive high wave. Great opening location into a little resistance. We did get above it, immediately smack back down. And I don't know. My assumption is we could get 2 or 3 days of just nothing. So like two or 3 days, that does look like a big old bull trap. That would terrify me if I was trying to go bullish, especially after that run up we just had. And see if we get some kind of a pullback could make sense. But let me see if that's a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All of this is the ABC, and then we start coming down. But you do have all the moving averages. You're going to fight the trend on that if you're going to take a bearish too. So pretty nice gap up, and I would assume needs a little bit of a rest. Intel with the earnings, and then we had some kind of price target hikes. So far that got rejected, but we're sitting $31. I don't see too much. You do have this gap back down to $29.74. That I think could fill. I would assume will fill at some point. Meta. So Meta has a gap and go, but it is an inside day. And it's got a lot of room to drop if it does. The question is, will it? You have a little bit of liquidity below us. So you're looking at 236.40 to hold. So that gives us about $2.40. And I think that's probably where you start getting met by those bulls again. And we'll see, because this is a massive gap. I think a lot of people are looking for that to close, but that is such a strong gap that I'd rather take it bullish. And if this thing does go bullish, we have good range on both sides of this thing, by the way. So decent range to the downside if this is all just met with resistance and the bears come in strong. We could definitely come in, close that gap to the downside. What I'm watching for on Meta, though, and this is something I'll be watching for the next couple days, because I don't know that today we break. But all right, if Jerome Powell comes out Wednesday, says something really bullish, everything is good, fantastic, and we can start clearing some of these levels, there's no stopping this thing, and I could probably see maybe even 320 as a price target. So somewhere up in there could make sense. That's another $80 from this price range. So it does have a lot of room to the higher side. But the question is, do we pull back a little first? I would like to see that, and then bullish would make a lot of sense there as well. So again, just wide open room to run. ET, phone home. ET, energy transfer. That's a good gap. Targets could be an issue. So you do have two bullish days already. And then we're starting to get, I would put targets at probably about $13.05. I like that opening location a lot. Just how far is this thing actually going to run? See it on a weekly. This is probably somewhere around the 50% retracement already. 1345. Yeah, it might be a little too far extended where probably a bigger pullback should come in. It doesn't have to, but for a risk reward would make trading it a little bit easier. But otherwise, yeah, nice gap. If you could break through some of those resistance, you should have some room, but I just don't see too much on it. Hector's in the house. What's up, Hector? We got XRP in the YouTube chat. XRP. That could be a start to a bear flag. So if we got a bear flag, something like this current candle on it is a little bit negative. So the spots, which we did get the first bounce off of it already, but the first spots is somewhere at $23.80. Otherwise, if this is a fail, if this is a bear flag kind of holding up, which would make sense, that was a lot of selling that we just had. Big bearish engulfing candle, close to a double top. There's your breakdown. This was probably the retest into it. This looks like a healthy breakdown. So we'll see where this candle closes. Then you get maybe one or two bullish and then take a break of those bullish. But yep, right now it looks a little bit like a bear flag forming or forming but breaking. I'm looking for shorting gold this week. It had a good run up on gold. I think shorting, for me at least, shorting gold is usually a little bit tougher. But yeah, that would be your flag to do it on. And again, we don't know what Jerome Powell is going to say on Wednesday. So for me, if you have gold, I would just hold it for a little bit just in case Jerome Powell comes out, because that's going to be your flea to protection. But I do agree. It's been on a good run already. All right, you have Target. I would probably, instead of shorting gold, I would probably take profits on gold. If I had it, I would still leave some on the table. I don't know that I would short gold itself, but I'd probably buy bonds. I'd probably buy TLT, something like that, as a kind of hedge against it, just in case. All right, you got a double bottom on Target. Target, yeah, just inside day for right now, so it's not really gapping one way or the other. We are below. I'd be watching this 157.95, so I would almost go short on this one. I don't know that it's going to be very shortable today, because you do have a good double bottom that people are going to be playing. But really, if your spot is somewhere around 157.90, if that breaks, you probably could lean bullish, but you're fighting bullish with all the moving averages above you. Retail has been tough, but again, anything in retail right now that's been either flat, down, hurting, if we come out and we're saying, hey, listen, there's no recession, that's good for consumer confidence. That's going to be good for retail. That's going to help people open their wallets a little bit and actually pull money out to spend it somewhere. And probably Target will be a good winner. I did pick up Kohl's 2 weeks ago, something like that, just for the long-term account. I like the dividend on it. I like the retail type play. Also, I think anything entertainment. So you got cruise ships. I think Airbnb would be decent. I think Expedia would be decent. So I think a lot of the, even some of the airlines would be a decent play. If we come out and we go, there's really no recession, we're not really slowing down. I think a lot of the entertainment industry, or experience type industry, I should say, will probably be a benefactor of it. But unfortunately, we only got like 20 seconds left in the market, or until the bell. Everybody, YouTube land, I do appreciate you joining us each and every day. If you missed it the first time, make sure you hit the little thumbs up, subscribe, the like, the share button, tell a friend, tell a neighbor. Doesn't really matter. But more importantly, check out reallifetrading.com. We do have free education online. We also got mentorship groups starting this week, so you guys can check those out. But until next time, until tomorrow, we will catch you then. Be safe out there. Hunker down.